All right, as the clock strikes 7:03, I would like to call to order this meeting of the Town of St. Andrews Planning Advisory Committee here on April 16th at the W.C. O'Neill Arena Complex in the Council Chambers. I look around the table. We have two new members, but everyone, all of the committee is present and at the table. We have Mr. Knopper from the town and Ms. Hartford from the planning team online. Thank you and welcome. We have an agenda in front of us. If someone would like to make a motion, I would entertain such.
I'll move to accept the agenda.
Thank you very much. Do I have a seconder for that? Mr. Tanner, thanks very much. Anything more? If you're all ready for the question, if you're ready to accept the agenda as presented, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? There being none? All right, there's our roadmap. That's what we will do tonight. And as we welcome you to our meeting, we recognize that we are on unceded traditional territory of the Peskotomuhkati people, and we welcome you all to our meeting tonight. Looking for any declarations of conflict of interest, if any exist. Now's the time. There being none, thank you very much. Confirmation of minutes. We'll get a motion on the table, and then I understand there's an amendment to make. So if everyone's had an opportunity to review the minutes and would care to make a motion on those minutes, I would entertain that.
I'll move to accept the minutes.
Thank you, Councillor Harley. Do I have a seconder for that? Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. So, Mr. Knopper, please let us know.
So PAC, just to note, for motion number 16-0225, it should have been noted as a tabled, as it was tabling the 5.2-foot wooden wired fence in the talking about the recreational zone and that item. So that one should have been tabled, not defeated. You defeated the first one, but tabled the second one. So just for reference.
No, that's great. Excellent. Will it be changed somewhere?
It'll be modified in the final version of the minutes that you will sign.
Wonderful.
And posted. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you very much. So if there is an amendment being requested on the motion to accept the minutes. Ms. Harlan, would you accept that amendment?
I do accept the amendment.
Thank you very much. Thanks so much. I do appreciate that. And so with the amendment on the table and no other discussion, if you're ready for the question, all those in favor of adopting the minutes from February 19th, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? There being none, we will then move on to our first agenda item. Is actually under presentations and delegations. We'd like to formally welcome and introduce the new Planning Advisory Committee members. So welcome Rebecca Merzero. Did I say that correctly? Thank you. And David Solier. Did I say that correctly? No? Yeah. Oh, okay. Thanks so much. Welcome. We appreciate your attendance and your participation here tonight. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. Moving on to, there are no zoning applications, variance applications. We do have a variance application for PID 01319-086. That's on Harriet Street, Legrod Holdings, Inc. The Town of St. Andrews has received a variance application, and the applicant is requesting to create two lots with variances of the proposed dimensions. And Ms. Hartford, if you'd like to take us through your planning report, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm just going to share my screen. Okay, so as you said, the applicant requests to create two lots with variance in the proposed dimensions. So that would be in the area and the depth of the lot. So the property is zoned service residential and it is within the town plat. The parent property is a vacant corner lot, so a corner of Harriet and Montague. And the parent property has an area of 1,379 meters square, a width of 51.12 meters, and depth of 26.5 meters on the flankage yard, so that would be on Montague, and then 25.1 meters in the interior sideline. there is the two that are bolded, the area and the depth, it actually was incorrect in the report. So this variance is less significant than the variance that was applied for. So it's a little bit different in the percentages. Prior to that, I was working with one plan and then I got the second plan, but it come just as I had sent my report out. So I just wanted to let you know that they are corrections that will do need to be made. So the purpose of the proposed lot is to develop a duplex and allowed use within the SR zone, so duplex per lot. And lot standards within the SR zone is a lot area minimum of 744.2 meters square, lot frontage of 24.4 meters square, and lot depth of 30.5 meters. And so the lots that are proposed do have the minimum width, but they do require a variance within the area and lot depth. So the proposed lots, like I said, have the minimum width, variance requested for the area and depth. And the applicant has submitted a site plan to show that the minimum setbacks and lot coverage can be met for developing a 2-unit dwelling. And the notification was sent within 100 meters of the property. And I do believe we did have one, it might be more than that, but I think I just seen the one email come in.
Correct, Ms. Hartford, one
So
letter.
one letter, yep. Okay. So the policies that will apply to this application, there's two from the municipal plan, general land use and development policies. Council shall use a zoning bylaw to continue to limit development to a certain number of buildings per lot within certain zones, set minimum sizes of lots, and set other conditions to maintain the character of the town, including the general prohibition of mobile homes, mini homes, trailers, or shipping containers as residence or business premises. The second one, housing policies. Council shall provide for a mix of housing types and densities throughout the establishment of a sufficient number and a range of residential zoning categories as defined in the zoning bylaw. And then from the statements of public interest, special statement 2 is promote a range of housing options such as size, type, density, and design. And from the SPI user guide, consider supporting the development of various types of residential housing reflective of anticipated economic, population, and demographic trends. And 5, promote and prioritize development in areas of communities with existing or planned public infrastructure and services. And this will be an infill project where the infrastructure and services are already there and easily available. This is a zoning map here. You'll see this is Harriet and Montague, and this is the corner lot here that's in question. And this is the subdivision plan. So you can see there's the 2 lots here. And these lines here would represent where the building would be on the property. And we do have a site plan as well with the setback. So this would be the plan here, and you can see this would be the driveway coming in for the 2 units, the duplex, and the same up top here. And this would be the building footprint on the lot. You'll see around here, this dotted line, that would be the setbacks for the zone to show that it can meet the setbacks for the SR zone. This would be looking on to Harriet. So this is the front elevation. And this would be the rear elevation. So this would be facing the sideline on the second property in on Montague Street. And here's different views of the duplex. The PAC is asked to consider a variance in area and depth for the proposed lot. And so we see lot 1, it will have an area of 679 meters square, and that's an 8.8% variance. A depth of 26.5 meters, and that's a 13.1% variance. And so the depth in the SR zone is 30.5, and the area is 744.2. And so there will be the variances required. And for lot 2, it will be 660 meters square is the area, so 11.3% variance. And for the depth, it's 25.1 meters, so it's a 17.7% variance. So the general intent of the bylaw is to regulate minimum area of parcel of land that is developed, and that's to ensure that setbacks, the lot coverage standards can be met to maintain the town's character. And historically, in the zoning document from 1979 to 1998, the lot sizes in the SR zone within the town plat were 24.4 meters for frontage, 24.4 meters for depth, with an area of 594.6 meters square. So creating undersized lots in this size, it is the opinion of staff that it would still maintain the town's character. So the proposed creation of the undersized lot does meet the general tenet of the bylaw, as the setbacks and lot coverage can be met. Therefore, it is the opinion of staff that the proposed variances are reasonable or desirable for the development of land and are within the general tenet of the bylaw. So staff recommends that the Planning Advisory Committee of the Town of St. Andrews, as per the Community Planning Act, approve the requested variances in depth and area to allow for the creation of the lots, as the variance is reasonable or desirable for the land development and is within the general tenet of the bylaw. Thank you.
Thank you, Judy. Over to the committee. Do we have any questions for the planner? Oh, yes, Ms. Merzero, please.
Thank you, Chair. I hope at the next meeting after reading this, I won't have a question like this.
Anytime.
I'm just curious about the lot coverage standard and whether that includes all impermeable surfaces or if that's just based on the building size alone.
Ms. Harper, can you help us there? Oh,
I forgot to unmute. Sorry about that.
that's okay.
Yeah, so lot coverage is defined by the buildings on the property. And so when you're looking, some zones will talk about residential buildings are what you would look at for the coverage. Other zones would say all buildings. So in this case, it would be the coverage of the property. So any outbuildings would take into that calculation as well.
Thank you. And maybe just to follow up to clarify, that wouldn't include therefore like driveways or hardscaped areas wouldn't be captured in that limit.
That's correct. No, it would only be buildings, not any of the landscaping. There is requirements for landscaping, but it wouldn't be a part of the lot coverage.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? Yes, Mr. Ingalls, welcome back.
Thank you. Judy, a few questions. As of right, they're allowed to do a duplex on each of these lots? Is that as of right with the current zoning?
It is. So right now, semi-detached is not allowed in the town plat, but duplexes are. So a two-family is allowed, but a semi-attached where the property line is actually the common wall, they're not allowed in the town plat. They're allowed in the SR zone outside the town plat, but they're not allowed in the town plat by right. Two-unit dwellings are though.
Okay. Now you pulled up policy 2.4.2 bracket 1 and you said it says something about the character of the town. My issue right now with this application, I don't feel we just went through an exercise about the historical character of the town. I don't think this is within the town plat. I don't really feel that this is really respecting the historical town plat. It's not respecting the lotting pattern. And if you go along Harriet, most of the dwellings along Harriet don't address Harriet. They address whatever street they're on, whether it's Queen, Parr, Montague, etc. So I'm having a hard time supporting this because it's not really respecting the current lot pattern within the historical town plat. And it's addressing Harriet and it's not addressing Montague is really what it should have been doing to begin with. And it is an undersized lot, which we're actually subdividing, correct? It's one lot it's being subdivided into two lots, correct?
Yeah.
Yes, but right now it's not undersized. Right now it's 1,359 meters square. The minimum lot size is 744. Yeah.
But if we're
oh, sorry, go ahead.
But so if we're subdividing it, we're going to get undersized lots. I also have a problem subdividing a lot unless it can really meet all the standards that are required. We're asking for variance on a subdivided lot, and it's, in my mind, that's not a good policy to have. And it's not a good practice for us to do. So I really, like, when I saw this application, I had a lot of concerns about it. And like I said, it's only because we just went through this whole exercise about the character of the town and the town plat, and this doesn't fit within that scope whatsoever. I would be much more comfortable if it was two single-family houses, and I know we want to increase density. I think there's different ways to do it. But I look at this and it smacks of a new build completely. There's no effort at all to actually try to incorporate this into the historical feel of the town. So I have a problem with it.
So staff did consult with the town regarding the driveways. There was no concerns about the driveways being on Harriet. So that's why we brought forward the application as it was. We did consult with the town but it was valid because we did look at the fact that there was no other driveways. They were coming off the other street. So definitely that's why we did reach out.
Well, and which is great, which is good to do, but once again, it's not respecting the character of the town. The regular lotting pattern is as it is, and it's what it's been. There's only one house that is on to Harriet along the east side of Harriet, farther down. But that's it. All the other ones are addressed to the street that they're on, not on Harriet. Furthermore, I mean, if this went forward, I'd want to see the unit that's facing Montague Street. That flankage needs to be upgraded because that's basically a corner lot, and that flankage needs to address that street more than just being a flankage lot. It needs to be, for good urban design, it needs to be upgraded to a better interaction with the street. So I find it a problematic application.
Does anyone else have questions for the planner? Yes, Mr. Solier?
I'm just wondering, I recall when this lot was advertised for sale, it was advertised as having the capacity for up to 4 units. And my question would be if there are any scenarios that would allow the advertised 4 units on this lot without any variances needed.
Madam Chair, I can answer that.
Yes, thank you.
As the SR zone does allow to have triplex, you are allowed an accessory dwelling unit. So I would say that it is correct to say that 4 units could go on there because a triplex is allowed now. And then to do an ADU, that would be your 4 units. So if I guess that's one way you could look at it, to say yes, it could do 4. I'm not sure if it was talking about 4-plex by right, because right now it would only be a 3-plex with an ADU.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else for the planner? If not, I would look to Paul to see if the applicant is online.
The applicant is online. Just allow me to get him to talk. Mr. Legassi, you have the floor to PAC. Can you unmute? Mr. Legassi, can you hear us? Can you unmute yourself?
We've never had that.
Mr. Legassi?
Yeah,
Do you want to give him one more minute to see if he's,
well, yeah. I don't want to, I'm sorry, I just thought, yeah, I certainly want to give him an opportunity to present if he's online and has come to the meeting, but we also need to
keep moving forward if he's not
keep
going to?
moving forward. Yeah, we'll give him a minute.
Give him a minute. I'll check my emails as well.
All right. We've just never had an applicant just kind of be there, not be there.
Unless he's having trouble with his microphone, but
Oh, you're guessing. Okay.
I'm guessing there's no email I've
Okay.
received yet.
All right.
Mr. Legassi, Your hand is raised. Can you please unmute yourself? We see you. You need to unmute yourself. I'm going to promote him to panelist to see if that's going to fix
All right.
this. I could always demote him
Yeah,
after.
yeah.
There.
The computer, so.
Okay, Mr. Legassi, can you try unmuting yourself?
Very unfortunate, yeah.
We understand you are there, Mr. Legassi, but I need you to unmute yourself so we can actually hear you. Yep.
Is it Zoom or Teams?
Zoom.
Yeah.
He says he can't unmute on his phone.
Oh. Well,
I think there's a code when you're on your phone that you have to put in to unmute.
See here. He can call in. Give me a second. I think it's *6, yeah. Because he's in the system here, so he's in here. He just needs to unmute himself on his phone.
it won't. Still, it's crazy.
So, Mr. Legassi, try hitting *6 on your phone, please. The other option is *6. Otherwise, he's on with his phone. Madam Chair, what would you like to do?
Well, I think we do really need to move on. It's unfortunate, but sitting here longer isn't gonna fix the problem.
Nope.
Maybe he needs to get out of the meeting and come back in. I mean, I don't know.
If you wanna-
Unplug it and plug it back in again.
If you want to move on to the next phase, and if we can figure it out at
I
another
think
stage
so.
of it,
I
then
think so. I won't preclude him from speaking if he manages to get connected.
Okay.
For sure, because I think it would be very beneficial to hear from him,
Yeah.
but we're gonna move on and give him some time to look at that.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right, so I would ask the committee at this stage if they had any questions for the applicant, but at this point, we turn it over for public presentations. We start usually within the polling area, if anyone's here within the polling area. Okay, if you wanted to step up to the podium and just identify yourself for the minutes, make sure the microphone is on.
Microphone's on.
Okay.
If you could please state your name and your address, thank you.
Yeah.
Is the green light on there?
My name is Melina Crosby, and this is my husband, Tim Crosby, and we reside at 11 Montague, which is across the road from the property in question. I apologize, I'm going to read what I wrote. I haven't memorized. We specifically chose to move to St. Andrews in 2022 for its inherent peace and solitude, which were key factors in our decision and our investment in our property. We further chose to reside within the town plat because we appreciate and value the established look and feel of its community, which contributes significantly to the desirability and value of our properties. The proposed development introduces buildings that appear to lack architectural or cultural relevance, potentially detracting from the established aesthetic of the neighborhood and negatively impacting the visual appeal of the area. This is very much out of line with St. Andrews Bylaw MP 20-02's objective of retaining and enhancing the architectural and cultural heritage of St. Andrews, specifically the business district and the town plat. This development, by its nature and potential density, threatens to negatively impact the quiet enjoyment and privacy of our property and those of our neighbors, particularly if converted to long or short-term rental. The introduction of a higher density development with a different architectural type and style, coupled with increased traffic and potential parking issues, could negatively affect the desirability of our neighborhood and consequently the value of our properties. Even before this proposal, we observed a significant increase in traffic and vehicular activity at the corner of Harriet and Montague since our arrival in 2022. We have noted substantial vehicle presence at nearby recent developments, including approximately 40 to 50 vehicles at the new Compass Apartments, at least 15 at Tupper Square, and potentially 36 vehicles at the new Bar Road development. Permitting 4 single-family homes on one subdivided lot could conservatively add at least 8 more vehicles, assuming 2 per household. Furthermore, if these units are used as short-term rentals, like similar Airbnb properties at 47 Montague and 53 Queen, each of which permits up to 8 people, the potential for vehicle traffic could drastically increase, potentially reaching 4 vehicles or more per unit for a total of 16 vehicles during peak occupancy. With a maximum of 8 parking spots proposed for 4 units, the design appears to significantly under-accommodate potential vehicle numbers, particularly if the units operate as short-term rentals. This lack of sufficient on-site parking will likely result in overflow onto surrounding streets, diminishing the amenity and potentially the value of neighboring properties. The intersection of Montague and Harriet is already heavily trafficked. Adding the traffic associated with 4 additional dwellings on this lot will further increase congestion and the potential for accidents. We have personally experienced many near misses at this corner. In closing, this proposal for 4 single-family homes on one subdivided lot represents a significant intensification of development in this area, which we believe is out of character with the existing neighborhood. Furthermore, it likely will negatively impact our quiet enjoyment and privacy and has the potential to decrease the value of our properties. Similarly, in the spirit of bylaw MP 20-02's objective, we note that within the town plat, there is no other construction that is visually similar to the proposed design. Additionally, within the town plat, there appears to be no other multifamily construction on a subdivided lot. This proposed approach is contrary to the character of the neighborhood. We urge the committee to carefully consider these things. I can give you a comment.
Sure. Yes.
Additionally, I don't know if our neighbor at 5 Parr Street, Donna Walsh, I'm not sure if she's the person that sent an email. She did send in an email, but she said she thought it wasn't received, so she asked me to print it out.
That's fine if, yep.
Is that okay? So this is from Donna Walsh. She's the resident at 5 Parr Street, which is directly behind the proposed lot. She has 5 major concerns. The first one is zoned as residential with the development of 4 possible residences housing 4 families or possible increase by owners who are absentee owners, creating rental units such as Airbnb. I find this unacceptable. The designs as proposed with 4 prominent garage doors as the front view of these homes, I find is unacceptable. Increasing the population on a block already overpopulated with rental units, I find this unacceptable. And number 4, the traffic flow between the corners of Parr and Harriet and Montague and Harriet is already concerned. This development will just add to it. Most households have 1 or more vehicles, totaling a possible 8 cars in that block. And number 5, on a personal note, I am directly adjacent to the property at 4 Montague. The natural divider has been removed and I've lost a certain amount of my privacy. I find this unacceptable. And that's from Donna Walsh at 5 Parr Street. Thank you.
Hi, Paul.
Yeah, we can hear you, but we have to put you on mute for now, Rodney. I'll let you know.
Okay, sorry about that. I just figured it out. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have anyone else from within the polling area that wanted to speak to this application? If so please just identify yourself at the podium. Thank you.
Hi. I'm David Bizzo, on behalf of Sandra Fabian as well. We own a property at 11 Parr Street. We're opposed to the bid O1319086 Harriet Montague Street being split into the the two lots for the following reasons. The addition of two duplexes side by side with 2 floors on a small lot will have a visually unsettling appearance for local visitors alike. 2 family duplexes on the side of this lot, size of this lot will definitely have adverse visual effects. Towering over Harriet Street, I mean, frankly, standing out like a kind of a sore thumb. But first, I'd also like to say that I'm kind of confused by the lot sizing because I was doing a lot of logistics on lot sizing and it all changed before coming there. That was one thing, which is kind of unnerving. Anyway, both driveways for the 4 homes that they want to create, more congestion traffic on Harriet, along with additional traffic from the gas station. It's currently a driveway on Montague Street, but you're not allowed to use it for some obscure reason. The loss of charm, character of the town is a main issue here. This is the town plat you're talking about. I mean, you're going to put, you know what the sizing is? 744 is subdivision sizing, like you have, you know, down here in the nice quiet area where they have kids and it's beautiful down there. But it doesn't work with the town plat. But you know, you're actually subdividing it as a subdivision. Anyway, the loss of charm, character of the town, main issue, as well as densification. Small block area of Harriet. I mean, we're right behind also, not like Donald right there. We understand the need for extra housing. However, we have rentals of Water Street with the rock construction. Large rental complex on the old Blue Moon Motel site. Upper Square, just like this lady said. The old Beck building. Garden Homes, our road development, not to mention the large swath of land clear cut for whatever development's going in there. And other clearing next to it, and the Deer B&B, they just wiped out a whole swath of land there. And like, you know, what are they gonna do with that? They're gonna bring a subdivision as people are driving into this town? We did come there for the charm. I mean, I'm from St. John originally, years ago, but anyways, we understand the need for extra housing. But our little town is growing pretty fast and much more density, traffic, and population. We understand we already have the duplexes and triplexes in town, like at the dairy, with the old dairy, with this variance for 2 duplexes on a small lot and a set of precedents. Though it's stated by the PAC will look at each file individually. That doesn't mean to say that they won't do the same thing again. Man, who knows? The old dairy lot, yeah, has a duplex and a triplex. Anyways, on summary, densification, too much on a small block area. Traffic issues, Harriet, it's going to be a mess. You got the gas station, you got Montague, and they're going up and down Park Street, up and down Montague. They're trying to race out of town, you know, when they, you know, all the time. But visually unsettling appearances, no idea what type of building's going to be constructed. We get this PDF file and there's no pictures or nothing. They can make 2 lousy little buildings with whatever on. I mean, not, but they even show, are they going to be rentals or are they going to be home ownership? Undisclosed. And if we have rentals in our backyard, you're going to have people, renters don't care about where they live. They care a little bit about where they live, as long as the landlord doesn't throw them out. But what happens is, if you're a homeowner, you care about your property, you care about your building. But if it's a rental situation, forget it. Footprint of requested variance, same as lots in subdivisions. And I checked this out. All images presented used in the PDF file were preliminary designs, not for construction. Anyways, I wanted to ask some questions. Now, can I ask questions now? Or can I just submit them and they get answered?
Yeah, I think that's best. This really isn't a question and answer period between the audience. And
Should I ask them now?
Unless it's of us, but if.
I mean, I have 5 short questions. Can I ask them now?
To whom are did you?
Well, it's regarding this whole situation.
Right. Are they to the committee?
Yeah, of course. Can the developers decide to build triplexes instead of proposed duplexes if this variance is approved? could they turn around once you go, okay, we're gonna let the lot go at 744, right? Square feet, square meters. Then all of a sudden they turn around. They go, "Oh, 6." We got the lot. The lot.
According,
Maybe. Now we got 6. So that's my question. And this other lady said too, like, could be after that, there could be after. Are these proposed homes, like I said, for homeowners, for sale, or what? I think it's 28 feet of one. I think that's 28 feet, whatever it is, not 100% sure. Those town council are representatives. Vacant lot. This is very requested. It's a new topic of property. This is very important, and this gentleman here, I don't know his name, English. Are you your last number? Yes. What you were saying is right about the integrity of the town flat. This town flat. This is special. Finally, that's last one. Considering the visual demonstration of property because of the fact that it's kind of flat, why did the PAC only send out 16 letters of intent and non-notify the whole town? Because this is, every time they drive in here, everybody's going to see this. This huge, could be monolithic, we don't know, right? No one's given us any picture. And if you don't have any picture, you can't even visualize what's coming. So, you know, and it affects the whole town in the future. That's what I got to say. Thank you very much.
thank you very much. Is there anyone else that would care to offer anything on this file? Is there anyone online? No one online?
Hi, Paul.
Hold on, Rodney. Thank you. We can hear you.
Okay, I do apologize and thank you everyone for attending. I just wanted to introduce myself. I'm Rodney Legassi, and I'm the proponent on this land. I just wanted to give you maybe a little bit of
Mr.
background.
Legassi, there
Yes.
is a process right now and you're
Oh,
interfering.
sorry.
Please let the chair handle the process. Thank you.
Oh, sorry. Yes, for
It-
sure.
Yeah, it's actually, it would be the time that I would likely call on the applicant now that he's got his technology figured out.
Yes.
Thank
So
you.
if you'd like to discuss anything on this file, that would be fantastic for us.
Well, I would, and if I knew that there was the opposition and questions in hand, I would have been on site to answer. I just want to introduce myself. It's not my first development. We actually have been here for 3 years, and we did Princess Royal. And I know a lot of the questions and the people that are opposed to the development may not know what we've done in St. Andrews. And I would invite them to come up and take a look at the structures that we've done on Princess Royal. I'm at 202, and they could come through, take a look at the outside, inside, and see the quality that we're doing. So I know the renderings don't really give it a whole lot of St. Andrews charm, but I want to assure you there's no vinyl siding that we're putting on these buildings. These are all Maybach wood siding. We're doing wood shiplap. Everything is quality. And my intention is to really improve the town. And I'm a little surprised. I don't know what else I could really say that there's that much contention on the design. but I'd like to have further discussions with those people if they have, those strong oppositions, because I think I could assure you that with our track record, I think it would add to the town. I know there was some issues about the traffic. That's something I can't control. And I think there's a lot of other projects that are adding a lot more traffic than, these 4 units would add. So it's an empty lot. I was excited about it and I still am. And I guess that's all I can say. I really hope that PAC would give this a go, and we will not disappoint. That I assure you. So, any other questions? I'm open for it.
Excellent. Yes, Councillor Harland has a question for you, Mr. Legacy.
Okay, great.
Thank you, Mr. Legacy. So the intention of these 4 units, are they individual homes to be purchased or to be rented?
It's a great question. The original purpose was to sell the units individually. We're planning on doing high-end units. At present, the bylaw does not allow for a common wall to be to be shared and subdivided like I did here at Princess Royal. We're hoping with the bylaw amendments that will be changed, and that is honestly our plan. I am taking a risk and going ahead and building them without having that amended in the bylaw. And I do have a plan B. So if the bylaw hasn't been amended and it allow for what I'm doing, we would do high-end rentals. And we've had a lot of demand here in Princess Royal for older people that have sold their homes and they're renting or want to rent some of these units. So that's my initial plan, is to sell them. If it doesn't work, that the amendment is done, then we would rent them. And we would basically stop at 2 units.
Sorry, just can you clarify, what do you mean you would stop at 2 units?
Well, if the bylaw hasn't been amended, we wouldn't continue with the second building. We would wait until that is done.
For clarification, Mr. Legacy, are you saying you're going to do a phased development, build 1 building first, 1 duplex, wait and see if the bylaw goes through, for clarification?
That's exactly it. Yes, sorry.
Okay, thank you. Madam Chair? Mr. Ingles, or
Sorry. Thank you.
You're
Mr.
welcome.
So just to clarify, so I'm 100% clear. So if you're looking at a phased in, then the first unit would have to be rentals until there is a potential bylaw change.
Correct.
And so if that bylaw change doesn't happen, then they have to stay as rentals, correct?
Yes. That's out of my control.
Okay, thank you.
Does anyone else on the committee? Mr. Ingles, your turn.
Thank you, Mr. Legacy, for clarifying some things. My question is, what's the rationale for 4 units on this one lot?
Well, the cost first of the lot was quite substantial. We originally proposed a triplex, which left room for another unit, and we went back to the drawing board, and we understand, St. Andrews does want more density. We went back to the drawing board and we were able to get 2 duplexes, and there's some green space. We were excited about it. So obviously we can get another unit on that lot, and aesthetically, I think it works. I'm up here. I live on Princess Royal. I kept the last unit. We're very tight, but everybody's very happy. And there's actually been 3 or 4 resales since, and high demand. A lot of people don't even know we're up here. So that's the idea. I'm a developer. I'm trying to maximize as much as I can on the land, and do a good job aesthetically for the town. And by all means, I don't need to do this project. I think that lot it was terrible. It was overgrown. We cleared it just in anticipation. And I think the town are excited to have something on that rather than an empty piece of land. And that's my take on it.
Does that answer your?
So basically its economics is for 4 units, correct?
Yes. Well, of course, yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Does anyone else have a question for the applicant? No? All right, so we've spoken to the public and we've,
Just,
yes.
Mr. Legassi, I'm just going to put you on mute now. We're
Sure.
moving on.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So we've heard from the public, we've heard from the applicant. You guys have had your question and answers. I guess it's up to us now for a motion and some discussion. Sorry, if I can just clarify, in the, this is for Ms. Hartford, actually, because the recommended motion, the dimensions on it are changing. Can we get just some, I just want to make sure I get the right, numbers for the motion, Judy, if that's okay. So.
Sure. I'm just going to share my screen if that's all right.
I did see the slide, but it
Okay.
just, yeah, if that clarifies this recommended motion in the action section of the package, that would be awesome.
Yes. So in the motion itself, I didn't put in percentages, but definitely look at what they are. So the lot 1 is 679, minimum lot size is 742 or 744.2, sorry, and lot 2 660, and again with the depth to be 30.5 as per the bylaw, and the depth request are 26.5, and that would be on Montague, and then the 25.1 would be on the interior of lot 2.
So clarification, Ms. Hartford, again, lot 1 would be the lot adjacent to Montague Street, correct?
That is correct, yes.
Thank you.
And it'll be 679 square meters.
Square meters, yes.
And they are, so that is just a reduction of 8.8%. And the
Yes.
depth 26.5 instead of 25.
30.5.
These numbers are getting a little hairy. Is everyone clear on the dimensions that were? Yeah, nobody seems
Okay.
to be very clear.
Okay.
Okay,
Ju-
I can go back to the subdivision map if you'd like.
Yeah, something like that, because we have to make sure that we're capturing the dimensions that you are looking for today, as opposed to the dimensions that are in our package.
Yes, and so you'll see them here. So what I presented in my report are the actual. So I was looking again at the site plan, and the site plan is just for to show where the block could be developed with a building. But this one here, like I said, sorry, I did get this a little bit late. And this one here does show the depth. So this one here on this line here on Montague is the 26.5. This line here is the 25.1. So not a complete rectangle. This line here again is the 26.5. This line here is the 25.1. The dimensions of the width did not change. Because the depth was a little off, it did change the lot size. So in my report, I did reference 637, but that is incorrect. It is the lot sizes that I said in the plan, and I can make this bigger as well if you can't see those dimensions. Sorry if it's getting a little distorted, but it is 669, like I said, for lot 1, and then 660 for lot 2.
How many for lot 1?
Lot 1 is 679 meters square.
59. Okay, all right. All right.
And lot 2 is 660.
Okay. How about that? Are we as a committee clear on what we're looking at? Mr. Slier?
I just want to clarify again on the designation between lot 1 and 2, because in the developer's proposed lot design, the lot designations, lot 1 and 2, are reversed to the plan that the planning commission has shown us here.
Yes, and I should have sent that out to you just so you had it, because then the first one's kind of like a concept plan. The concept plan is just for a visual to show PAC, because we're not looking at the design of the building, we're looking at the lot. So I did have that one, but I didn't have this one. Again, I apologize. I should have sent that out the day after. But no, this is lot 1 is, so this subdivision plan is the true plan. The other one was a concept plan. So it is lot 1 is Montague, lot 2 is the interior lot.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You, Annette? Yes.
I move to table because I'm not clear on the dimensions. I think we need clarity on that. I'm not comfortable. That's what I will say, is I'm not comfortable with that, and I propose that we table this.
So we have a motion to table this application. We have a seconder in Mr. Tanner. Thank you very much. Further discussion on that motion? If there's no further discussion, I'm going to call a question. All those in favor of tabling this application for PID 013190086 on Harriet Street, please signify by saying aye. And sorry, I want to back up a little bit. We're tabling it for further information on the dimensions, correct? Thank you. I just wanted to make sure that's in the minutes. And so all those in favor, one more time, I'm sorry.
Aye.
Any opposed to tabling this? No, there being none. All right, that motion is carried. So we need to get some clarification on the dimension sizes of this subdivision.
So, Madam Chair, just for the public's awareness, this will come forward at the next PAC meeting in May.
In May, thank you.
Yes, where more information will be provided to the PAC on lot dimensions and the set, so you'll have a better understanding of that.
That's great. That's great. These late breaking dimensional changes do make it a little bit muddy. So, yeah.
Could we?
Did you have
sorry.
something to say?
I guess this is more for the planner. Could we I think for also clarity, that a table should always be included when we have something like this. It shows the parent bylaw, what's allowed for that parent bylaw, what they're proposing, and what the percentage difference is. So we're actually comparing apples to apples and not just, so a table would be really helpful for all of us.
Okay.
Going forward with any applications going like something like this.
Yeah. Right. Pardon me. All right, so moving on. We have no terms and conditions applications, no sign applications. We have no new business. Are there any PAC member comments? Pardon me? Excuse me. Yes, you can ask a question of Paul.
Two
He'll
questions, Paul.
accept it.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
When it comes to Airbnbs in the town, considering it seems to be a comment about rental properties.
Right.
Where does the town lay in discussions with limiting or not limiting Airbnb rentals in town? And I know it's a touchy subject and I know we've been there before.
Mhm.
But where does the town lay on stopping them or limiting them?
Okay, so currently at this point in time, there are no real limitations on short-term rentals because council hasn't put any in. So at this time, there's the tourism accommodation levy, which states that you have to register and remit on a 3.5% basis. Beyond that, there's nothing really within our zoning bylaws or any other bylaws of the town that would restrict short-term rentals other than in the zoning bylaw, MR2s and MR1s are not allowed. You're not allowed to have short-term rentals in apartment complexes or anything like that. Service residential is an allowable use within the zoning bylaws. So right now, council will be looking at the zoning bylaw coming forward. There are options and opportunities within that where things like council could decide in the zoning to say, for instance, in one of the new zones, so which is probably gonna be a U1, U2, U3, you'll see them coming in, that you could set owner occupied. So that basically you could rent a room out, but it has to be owner occupied. So the owner has to be there while you are occupying that premises. So it can't just be, I'm leaving, here's a house rented for weeks. That is one option. I've seen options in other I've seen other communities where they cap the number of short-term rentals. So they could say, well, we're seeing a proliferation of them. The first 50 people that apply for a permit, get them. Everyone else, tough luck. And then if you try to run them, you're fined heavily. So that it basically negates the opportunity to rent. So you would basically set a fee higher than the rental cost. So you're forcing them on. And so like in our tourism accommodation levy bylaw right now, if you don't register and you're not following the rules to operate, it's a fine of $140 per day up to a $2,000 fine. And then once it hits a $2,000 mark, we take you to the Court of King's Bench as not fulfilling the bylaws. And so there is a legislative process. What actually is happening in the province right now is they're actually going to construct a task force to look at short-term rentals and rules and regulations established by them. So the province could come down with new sets of rules and regulations on this. And actually, I've asked to be on the task force because of the situations we have here. So it would be nice if we had a voice there to say, from small municipalities versus large cities, what are the differences? What are we seeing? How are we going? So right now we've got approximately between Shamcook, Bayside, and St. Andrews. Now this is including hotels, motels, bed and breakfasts, the vacation rentals, any type of short-term rental under 30 days, there's 110 in the community. Really. And about 80% of them are vacation rentals, short-term rentals, vacation rentals by owners, something like that. Then you're dealing with everything from the Algonquin right down to your bed and breakfast. So there's about 15 to 20 of those. Everyone else is there. Now I will note, when we did get Bayside and Shamcook incorporated, we gained about 15 to 20 out there. We've also seen over the past several years, and we've been monitoring this for 5 years, that the number hasn't really much changed or gone up. It's actually pretty much stabilized because we see people do it, not successful, come off. And then new people come on, do it, not successful, come off. Or, they sell their home or something changes. So there is flexibility within it. And we have been monitoring it extremely thoroughly. And we check at any point when new ones pop up, we've got staff that are looking at this because the goal is to gain compliance for this. So in the end, as it comes to rules for short-term rentals, it'll have to be established by council if council wishes to add rules and regulations, whether it's through a separate bylaw or through the zoning bylaw.
I don't know that this application was really going the way of.
I
the
know, but it was one of the
Airbnb.
question over
Okay.
there, and that's the
Yeah.
only reason I'm questioning it, because it was asked over
I
here.
mean, I don't
Let's
want to
get
be all
clarity. I
rosy
don't,
glasses
yeah, I know,
about
but
it,
let's just get clarity. My second question is, this is another doozy. And I know that the town is dealing with the zoning bylaws, and it was brought up by Rodney in his application where he was gonna build the first duplex and then wait out the town.
Mhm.
We had chatted about it before the meeting about multi-units, 4 units with all common walls, individually being able to sell with owner living in one.
Yes.
Where is the town standing on that? Because they're talking about the zoning bylaws right now.
At this time, it hasn't come before council as a draft in a workshop and a discussion. So
Okay.
at this point, it's in draft form
Okay.
and it hasn't been presented to council yet. We are going to have a workshop with council, and then it's if council is ready and prepared to release them to the public. At that point, there will be a full public presentation by the planners, public consultation, open houses,
Yeah.
and has to go through the bylaw
3
processes.
months.
But until council reviews it and decides what they're comfortable with in the bylaw, there's nothing that I can say to it at this point.
Nothing to talk
Yeah.
about.
Okay, I just know that we were
No.
talking about it before, and it was kind of a discussion point, but
Mhm.
yeah, that's it.
And Madam Chair, I just want to put a point of clarity just for the public's understanding. So under the rules of operation of the Planning Advisory Committee, there's 2 sets of rules as it comes to mail-outs. So one is for Bayside and Shamcook, and one is for the Ward of St. Andrews. Under the Community Planning Act, we are regulated to mail out within 100 meters within the Ward of St. Andrews. So that's what has been done for the last 4 years in the processes, and it would have to be a decision of PAC to change the rules of operation, which they review every single year in January and decide otherwise. An example of this is when Bayside and Shamcook got amalgamated, there was a concern because it's so rural and spaced out that if you do one from 100 meters, prime example is the lobster holding facility, one house was basically notified. So it was changed by PAC and the rules and regulations to be fair that we would do it within 1 kilometer or gather up to a minimum of 15 homes to actually receive the letter. So what we do see within town limits, it's a range depending on where the location is. It can be 15 to 20 letters, and I've seen it as high as 60 letters that we've had to send out. It just depends on where it's located, what the radius is, and what the properties are around. So because this particular property has some green space on larger properties, it doesn't have the same impact as it would be for the entire town. And that's why we have to put certain limitations on mail outs based on the general vicinity, because you guys are the neighborhood, right? And that's the consideration within it. If we were to mail out to the entire town, at that point, we might as well be looking at the whole zoning bylaw and municipal plan process and saying, do we want these rules and regulations? So I just wanted to make sure there was clarification as to answering those questions.
And the agenda is posted online for the whole town to see and even beyond the town. So very transparent. It's just those 100 meters that are within our polling area.
And I'll also note that people outside the polling area do have the right to submit letters, which we
Absolutely.
did receive a letter from outside the polling area that
Yeah.
had concerns, so, which was provided to the PAC. So anybody, to the point, it's anybody in Shamcook could have written a letter at Bayside. So everybody does get an opportunity. It's just the way it works is we talk to the polling area first because you're the adjacent neighbors. And from there, any additional information can be provided to PAC for consideration. You're welcome.
One more thing.
Kevin, yes.
This
sir.
is not a question to anybody. It's just a comment. Now that Rodney has made open arms and we're going to be seeing this in another month, we'll be seeing this again next month in May, the third Wednesday. It's a perfect opportunity, I think, for everybody here that is concerned that Rodney told you right where he lives, and maybe you can go up and voice some of your concerns. And then next month, maybe you're not here, and maybe you are. And it's a perfect opportunity to talk with him and get his views, because he has built some units here. He wants to listen, so reach out.
And we're only deciding on the dimensions of the lots, so we won't be able to speak to any of those design issues at all anyway. So that's really, a different process altogether. All right. Yes,
Will we be able to ask Rodney any questions next?
absolutely.
Okay.
It'll be like.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, we'll
Yeah,
just-
Madam Chair, we'll go through the same process
Sure
again.
will, yeah.
Like, we won't necessarily have to do the letters out unless something drastically changes within the
Mm,
plans.
mm.
But it will be a rehashing of the presentation, the request for the information for the PAC, and then Mr. Legassi will have a chance to speak, the public will have a chance to speak, and then it'll be your decision process.
Yes.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
If the PAC doesn't really regulate the design of the buildings, who does, and how do we comment on that? If I understand your statement earlier, that you're just talking about subdividing lots.
That's what we're charged with deciding on. That's right. So did you want to?
As the look and feel, it really comes down to the secondary municipal plan. So it's best guidelines and practices and does provide opportunities for look and feel, but there's nothing that's extremely mandated to say it must be this, unless the only regulation that we have that council has put in recently is the heritage bylaw that has some restrictions on heritage properties. But basically new builds, as long as they still meet this, and it's definitely the secondary municipal plan where it talks about cladding types of materials. So like, as Mr. Legassi noted, he wasn't going to put up vinyl siding because you're really not allowed to do that, like, within the processes of a town plat. Not unfortunately, because the secondary municipal plan has come in more recently, you will see in the subdivision, bungalows or older, like 60s, 70s, 80s bungalows that'll have the vinyl siding. That was just because that was the allowable at the time. But there are more restrictions and guidelines now to say, if you can build to the look and feel of the town, you're encouraged to, but you're not forced to, I guess is the way to put it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Correct me if I'm wrong, we can address massing in form, can we not?
Massing and form is under the secondary municipal plan, so you can suggest, but it's massing and scale usually to the area and what is there, and it would have to be more of a discussion to the planners to give more specification to that. I'm not fully in depth of all of that right now. So if you have questions on that, please have them prepared for Ms. Hartford at the next meeting, or please prepare them beforehand to send to Ms. Hartford so she can respond.
Yeah, including the report. That's a good idea. Anyone else for PAC member comments? We have no closed items. If that is all, here we are at 8:07 and this meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.